Hi, my name is Christopher Brown, and you're now listening to my podcast, Sports Talk with Chris, and this is episode 10. This episode is all about what ifs. What if a player never got injured, a team never broken up, a team won a game that they actually lost, a player signed with a different team or got traded to another team, or what if the Sixers actually fired Brent Brown and hired a competent coach? Now, when it comes to what if somebody never got injured, it's really something to talk about because a lot of players have potential to have all-time great careers, but their career was never the same because of injury or their career was ended because of an injury. First off, I'm going to start off with Grant Hill. Now, Grant Hill in his prime averaged 22 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals, but he was improving every year. He was the best and most talented small forward in the 90s, and he would have been the face of the NBA if he was not injured. Sadly, though, in the 1999-2000 season, he injured his ankle and was never the same. Team doctors and other bad advice guided him to play on it and only made the ankle even worse. He was traded from the Detroit Pistons to Orlando Magic, and for the next couple of years, he was never fully healthy. He only played 57 games from the 2000 and 2004 season. He was with the Magic for a total of 6 seasons, and out of the possible 492 games he could have played, he only played 200. Now imagine going from one of the best players in the league, the best player at your position, the NBA is about to be in your hands, and then just like that, you get injured and your career is never the same. Yes, Grant Hill, after he started to get healthy, he became a really good role player for the Phoenix Suns, but that wasn't how his career was supposed to go. He wasn't supposed to become a good role player. He's supposed to be one of the best ever. Like, Grant Hill game similar to somebody right now, honestly, is like LeBron James, an aspect of a point forward at small forward. Somebody that could dominate the game every which way on offense, and somebody that could defend on defense. Grant Hill get to the rack, he's dunking on anybody. He's also making plays when he's driving. He also pick and roll. He's getting everybody. He got everybody involved. He also scored the ball on a high level. So it's just like, it's sad to see somebody like that get hurt because he's really going to be one of the all-time greats. Now, another player that got hurt, which is a player that was supposed to be the face of the NBA, the youngest MVP of all time, I'm talking about Derrick Rose. Now, D-Rose's situation is real sad, man. The year he won MVP, he averaged 25 points and 7.7 assists. He tore his ACL in the 2012 playoffs against my favorite team, the Philadelphia 76ers, in the first round. But to be honest, D-Rose should have never been in the game in the first place. They were the obvious favorites to win the entire series, not only just that game. They were up 12 points with less than a minute 30 left. What coach, no good coach, no great coach, is keeping their star player in a game, especially in the playoffs, in that situation? The Sixers weren't making a comeback. It wasn't like it's the NBA Finals. It's the first round. You're the top seed. We're one of the bottom seeds. There was no need for your star player to be in. And I'm not saying that it's all time's fault because, the situation that happened to D-Rose, the play towards ACL, was a freak accident on something that he does all the time, a hop, step, to pass. But it's like, he should never have been in that place in the first place. Like, he should never have been in the game. Now, when he finally started playing again, he looked real hesitant like a lot of explosive people do when they tear the ACL. Then he blew out his meniscus in the right knee, missed the entire of the next season. Now, in the 2014-2015 season, D-Rose managed to play about 51 regular season games. He seemed to be fine. He seemed to be on path to looking like his old self, averaging about 18 points and 5 assists. But then in February, he started complaining of knee soreness. The doctors confirmed that he needed another round of surgery to repair the tear in his right knee with that meniscus. Now, D-Rose has been healthy ever since. He's been real good ever since, averaging about 18 points and 5 assists ever since then. But it's just sad how people are counting out D-Rose. He's still a real productive point guard, more productive than a lot of these point guards that get paid a lot of money. And a lot of people are saying that they're better than D-Rose. They're not. D-Rose putting up that same amount of production, if not more. I want D-Rose to go on a contending team because I don't want his talents to go to waste. Because after he got traded from the Bulls, he played for the Knicks. Then after the Knicks, it was the Timberwolves. And then now it's the Pistons. I don't want his career to dwindle away playing for bad teams. D-Rose is still productive. Yes, he's not the MVP D-Rose that we're accustomed to, but he's still a really good player. He can contribute to a really good team. Like D-Rose and the Lakers right now would be real nice. Any team that needs a guard, he could start. He can come off the bench. I feel like he has the ability to be a sixth man. But right now, I feel like he can still start as well. He's just too productive to be on a bad team, and I don't want his career to go to waste. Yes, he's not ever going to be an MVP again, but I feel like he has what it takes to contribute on a contender team and win the NBA championship. Sticking with point guards, there's somebody that had the ability to be like Magic Johnson. Yes, I'm talking about Penny Hardaway. Now, Penny Hardaway in the beginning of his career was a beast. His first 4 years in the league, he averaged about 20 points, 6.6 assists, 4.6 rebounds, and 2 steals. When he entered the league playing for the Orlando Magic, him and Shaq were instantly the best point guard and center combo in the league. They were the young, athletic, explosive versions of Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He made the All-Star game 3 out of the first 4 years. In his second year in the league, he helped the Magic get to the finals. Penny would have a career-altering knee injury, though. In the 1997-1998 season, he had to have surgery on it. This robbed Penny Hardaway of his explosiveness, as after that injury, he was never the same player. It's sad to say, because when some people lose their explosiveness, they're just not the same person. I'm not saying his game relied on his explosiveness, because in order to get to the NBA, you have to excel at multiple things. But the way he played the game, without his explosiveness, without his athleticism, he was just never the same. He had some decent years, playing for the Suns, playing for the Knicks, but he would always re-injure himself. I never think he actually got to 100% fully healthy. I think he would stop at around 70, 80% and try to come back instead of waiting until he's 100% to play, And that's the thing all athletes do. A lot of athletes want to come back early because they don't like being away from what they love. They don't like missing a lot of games, So they want to come back as soon as they feel a little bit better. They think it's time to come back. But in his situation, it only messed him up. And it's sad because ever since I found out who Penny was years ago, he's always been one of my favorite players. Like, he played the game exactly I feel like somebody should. Who doesn't love passing the ball? And every time I seen him passing the ball, he had a smile on his face. Dumping it off to Shaq. Let Shaq dunk on every center. Like, their duo was going to be one of the best duos of all time. And it's sad that he injured his knee. He never got to live up to his full potential. The last person I want to talk about on this list is somebody that once they got hurt, their career was over. It wasn't coming back after a couple of seasons of being unhealthy and being a role player. I'm talking about once they got hurt, there were no more. And that player I'm talking about is Brandon Roy. Now, Brandon Roy, when he was in the league, he was one of my favorite players by far. As soon as he got into the league, he made a stamp. His rookie year, he won the Rookie of the Year award, averaging 16.8 points, 4.4 rebounds, 4 assists, and 1.2 steals. From that point on, all he did was improve and grow his game. In the following 3 seasons, he went to the All-Star game every single time. 2007-2008 season, he averaged 19.1 points, 4.7 rebounds, 5.8 assists, 1.1 steals. The next year, 22.6 points, 4.7 rebounds, 5.1 assists, 1.1 steals. The next year, 2009-2010, 21.5 points, 4.4 rebounds, 4.7 assists, and 1 steal. Man, he was turning into one of the best players into the league. Not only that, but one of the best players at his position. Then all of a sudden, his career ended when he got the degenerative knee condition. In 2011, he retired from the NBA because the knee problems simply would not allow him to play basketball at the level he was once before. And that wasn't just he could play, but he could average, 10 points. I'm talking about he couldn't even play the game after that. Imagine, a couple years into the league, you're an all-star, you become one of the best into the league, and a snap of the finger, like, you're retired. And it's sad because he was really on path to be one of the best in the league. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that once he entered his prime, he probably would have been the best shooting guard in the league. Because by the time, his prime is hitting, Kobe would have been retired. It's just like, it's sad. It's sad. A couple years into the league, you make the All-Star 3 out of the first 4 years you're in the league, and then you're forced to retire because your knee simply won't allow you to play the game that you love. What if those 3 players I just named didn't get injured? Well, not only would they all be all-time greats at their position, but they'd be all-timers. I'm talking about some of the best players in NBA history. They all had the potential to do so, but injuries took an effect on their career in a negative way. Now, there's some players I didn't name on this list. Yes, they were injured and their careers were affected, but they ended up still having a Hall of Fame career. Those are players like Tracy McGrady, Yao Ming, and Bill Walton. Okay, so now I'm going to switch it up to what if a team didn't break up. There are a lot of great teams in league history that broke up either before they reached their full potential or broke up because of an ego thing. Those are teams like the mid-90s Magic, early 2000 Lakers, or the Oklahoma City Thunder team. Now, start off with the Magic. What if Shaq stayed on the Magic? There'd be no doubt in my mind that they would have won multiple NBA championships. They were building chemistry every single year, and a year before he left, they went to the finals. Yes, they were swept to the Houston Rockets, but that was due to the fact of lack of experience and maturity. It had nothing to do with talent, as the Magic was one of the most talented teams in the league at that time. You had Penny Hardaway, one of the best point guards in the league. Shaq, the best center, if not one of the best centers in the league. They got to the finals with only 3 years playing together. Shaq was drafted in 92, Penny the year after, and they went to the finals the 95-96 season. So imagine what would have happened if they would have stayed together. Building chemistry every year, getting better at their craft every year. I think they would have beat the Jordan team that went on to do the second three-peat in the end of the 90s. I feel like they would have beat them and got to the finals one of them year. And say they didn't. They still would have been in their prime at the end of the 90s going into the 2000s. They still would have been in their prime. Because I feel like if Shaq stayed on that Magic team, Penny would have never been hurt. So you got the best point guard in the league and the best center in the league. They're going to win a championship. It's not up for debate. They stayed together. They're winning the championship. They're going down as one of the best duos of all time. They're going down both as two of the greatest players of all time. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, they stayed together. That would have been a dynamic, dominant duo. Next team I'm going to talk about is the early 2000 Lakers. Another Shaq team. What a coincidence. But man, early 2000s, Kobe and Shaq were the best thing since sliced bread. Winning 3 straight championships, they were one of the best dynasties of all time. One of the best duos of all time. But they only won 3 championships. And they had the potential to win way more. They win 3 straight, then they lose to the Spurs in the Western Conference playoffs. Then the year after that, they lose to the Pistons in the finals. Then they're done. I feel like if that team stays together, Kobe and Shaq winning at least 6 championships together. At least. Because they were so dominant. Okay, so say Shaq is going down because, yes, he played at that time more than 10 years in the league. So he's not the same Shaq, in 2000 that he was in 2000. But he's still the best center in the league in 2005. I mean, he went on to win a championship with the Miami Heat. So he still got something in the tank. And then you got Cole, which is the best shooting guard in the league, become more dominant every year. So Shaq could, slow down and let Cole take over. And then Shaq could do his thing in the playoffs when it matters. You were not stopping them. If their chemistry on the court was right. So I don't even want to say chemistry. If they just had a better bond. They would have been, they would have been the best duo of all time. Best team of all time. Best dynasty of all time. And let's say they win at least 6 championships. You can now say Shaq is the best center of all time. You can now say Kobe is the best shooting guard of all time. And now there's debate that which one of them is the best player of all time. Because they're both top 10 as it stands right now. So if they have 6 championships, 6 plus, both of them are going up. So now, who knows? There could be 1 or 2. Kobe could be the best player of all time, or Shaq could be the best player of all time. But it didn't happen because that team didn't stay together. Now, granted, they both went on to have great careers, but I feel like their careers would have been better if they stayed together. That's just my opinion. The last team I'm going to talk about is this Oklahoma City Thunder team. Now, in 2016, they were up against the Warriors 3-1 in the Western Conference Finals. They ended up blowing the lead, and Kevin Durant goes and joins the team that he just blew a lead to. It baffles me because why are you joining a team that you were that close to beating? Like, if they stayed together, they would have ended up beating that Warriors team. If they stayed together, they would have beat them. Russ and KD were a dominant duo. They just needed better players around them and a better system. But I mean, speak up. Y'all the best players in the franchise right now. Y'all the best players in the franchise right now. Speak up. Get you more shooters. Because that's all they really needed was more shooters and a better offense. A better offense and more shooters. Because yes, they were a team which was like 1-on-1 or pick and roll, nothing special. So Russ and KD had to carry the load a lot, and they just had defenders around them. But speak up. Don't be scared to say, hey, we need this for the team. That's what the team captain does. What, you was scared to speak or something? If they stayed together, I don't know if they would have won a championship because, you know, that man in the East, LeBron. But they would have had a good shot to. They would have made it there. And then it would have been, you know, Russ versus Kyrie, KD versus LeBron. That would have been something to watch. It would have been something to watch and it would have been entertaining. And I feel like it would have happened if KD didn't leave to go sign with the Warriors. He took the easy way out instead of getting out the mud, which he could have did. But now we would never know. Now I'm going to talk about what if a player signed somewhere else. The first player I'm going to talk about is the snake himself, Kevin Durant. Now, what if KD signed to a different team than the Warriors? Now, I was never a fan of Kevin Durant leaving because I knew him and Russ would eventually make it to the finals and compete for NBA championship. Nonetheless, though, I did think of teams that he would have been nice playing on. And the first team I thought about was the San Antonio Spurs. Now, imagine KD with Kawhi and LaMarcus Aldridge playing on one team for Popovich. Who's going to stop that on offense? Nobody. Starting lineup, you got Patty Mills, Danny Green, Kawhi, KD, and LA. Not only is that a great offensive team, but the defense on that team is about to be out this world. KD and Kawhi have the ability to guard anybody on the court, 1 through 4. Danny Green is also a good defender. Patty Mills holds his own, and LaMarcus holds his own. That team would have been nice. For sure, they would have worked. Because y'all see right now how Kawhi and Paul George is working. Now imagine but him and KD. Because KD is better than Paul George, I'm be honest. Oh my goodness. That would have been a dynamic duo. And LaMarcus Aldridge would have still got his own in the post. Because he's hard to stop. So it's like, pick your poison. That team would have been nice. I'm not going to say that they would have been better than the Warriors, but they would have been damn near just as good. Just as good. And they definitely would have won the championship. And nobody would have called him a snake for joining the Spurs because it's not like the Spurs made it to the finals. It's not like the Spurs is the one that beat them in the playoffs that year. It's not like the Spurs had a 73-9 record. They were just still a good team. Nobody would have called him a snake. Nobody would have called him a snake for joining that team. And plus, him joining that team would have made the Western Conference way more interesting. You got the Warriors. The Warriors are still the Warriors. They won 73-9 without him, so I don't want to hear anything. Then you got the Rockets. Now you got the Spurs. Got the Clippers. Come on now. West would have been way more interesting if that happened. Now the next what if I got is what if T-Mac was traded to the Philadelphia 76ers. Now this came to my attention a couple months back and it made me sad. Alright, let's talk about it. In 1999, the Raptors had a deal in place to send T-Mac and a first round pick to the Sixers for Larry Hughes. Toronto, though, got cold feet and backed out after Stephen A. Smith broke the news. Now, when I found this out, I'm telling you, I was sad. I almost shed a tear. Because imagine T-Mac and AI playing together in their prime. They potentially could have been the best backcourt of all time. They for sure would have won an NBA championship. I mean, AI led them to the championship by himself. So imagine what would have happened if he finally got some help. Somebody that can score. T-Mac could do it all. Who was stopping him? It was already hard enough slowing down one of them. How you going to slow down both of them? You slow down one, the other going to give you 30 or 40 or 50. Who knows? Because they were both great scorers. Them two playing together, nobody would have been able to stop them. They would have definitely gave the Lakers a run for their money. I'm sorry. Because if AI was carving them up with no help, imagine what's going to happen if he got some help. Imagine. And they both would have had great careers still, even though playing together, two great players can play together. Two great scorers can still play together. That team would have been nice, man. And I'm speaking as a true Sixers fan right now. We would have had some rings when I was alive. Yeah, I know we won a ring back in the 80s, but I wasn't alive for that. I can't tell you nothing, you know what I'm saying, that I seen at that time because I was not alive. But oh my goodness, if we win in the 2000s, I would not stop talking about it. Oh, y'all think y'all got a great backcourt? Nobody would have beat my boy AI and T Mac back in the day. That's what I'll be saying to this day. Now, the last what if I'm going to do to end this episode is what if Kawhi missed that shot in the playoffs in 2018? Oh, missed that 2019? Yeah, 2019. Imagine what would have happened if he missed that shot. Let me tell you what would have happened. If he missed that shot in playoffs against the 76ers, they were going into overtime, and the Sixers were going to win in overtime, thus taking us to the Eastern Conference Finals, which we would have played the Milwaukee Bucks, which we have no problem playing and beating. So you know what we would have done? Beat them in the Eastern Conference Finals. Then we're in the NBA Finals against the Warriors, a not healthy Warriors team. I don't wish injuries on nobody, but even without the injury of Klay Thompson, we're still winning that series. Because who's going to guard Ben? Klay? Then who's going to guard JJ coming off the screens? Then who's guarding Jimmy Butler? And then who's guarding Tobias? And then Boogie, you my guy, you were not healthy enough to guard Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid was going to go off. He was going to go off. Come on now. If Kawhi missed that shot, the Sixers are champions. The Sixers are champions. We sticking together. And then this year we would have went on and win another one. Because Jimmy Butler, we was going to find a way to keep that roster. Or we was going to find a way to keep Jimmy Butler. It don't even matter about keeping Jimmy Butler. Man, we would have been champions. Sixers would have been champions. People would stop blowing my phone saying, bro, Sixers always talking, never win nothing. Man, that lucky behind shot Kawhi hit. Everybody knows if he missed, we going to overtime. The Sixers is winning. Jimmy Butler was going to turn the Savage up. Joel was going. Everybody on that Sixers team was turning their Savage up. Come on now. What if Kawhi missed that shot? The Sixers would be champions. End of story. Thank you all for listening to my podcast today. If you have any questions or you want to talk about what I discussed in this podcast, you can reach me at Instagram and Twitter at sportsw_Chris. sportsw_Chris. Thank you all for listening and stay tuned for future episodes. Peace!